93, take one.
You know, this movie, it ended up awesome, but it was brutal to shoot. And I think that was a challenge for everyone.
Brad Payton and I, when we come together, the action has been pretty intense and the action has been pretty big, but we're also trying to do things that push the envelope just a little bit more.
Brad directs the big types of movies that people want to go out and see, and definitely the types of movies that I grew up wanting to be a part of.
In this movie, it's a lot of action. When you set out to try and make things feel real, you have to put those actors in that situation. Making movies like Rampage is truly a dream. We get to create an idea, then you see that idea on the page, and then you see that page in previs, and then you see that previs start to come to life in front of you. It's just so magical and extraordinary.
Is this like a thing between you guys?
This is not a thing between us. We had practical sets everywhere we possibly could build them, which brought out the best performance in myself, Naomi, all the other actors. Just a fascinating process.
Brad is a full package filmmaker. Not only does he have the creative chops in the development process, but he preps a movie so well. He really worked hard to previs this entire thing.
Very few movies have ever done that, and really then lets the crew kind of understand Brad's vision. He just really understands all elements of filmmaking. He loves working with actors. At the same time, really understands visual effects.
Headed to the escape capsule.
Negative. Reroute to the lab and secure the canisters before departure.
We shot a space station with Marley Shelton, great actress. There's like a thing around her waist with wires that could allow her to rotate in all directions, which is great unless you lose control of it and then you're just spinning around like a gyroscope. And a set that didn't really exist. So that was awesome. And then every camera was on a crane, which is like an allergy of mine. I'd rather just shoot everything handheld. And we could do it in 3 days because that's how much time we had.
So weightlessness, believe it or not, is incredibly precise, complicated process involving pulleys and wires and about 10 amazing stunt men and women who use these pulleys.
After 3 days of shooting space, I was like, I need a vacation.
Rumble! Boom! Okay, and cut there, please.
There's no gravity, so up is down and left is right. You know, it's a complex thing to do.
I'm sort of like a marionette, essentially. And so it all creates this illusion of weightlessness, but it oddly requires a lot of body control to create that effortlessness. And then you add on top of that I'm being chased by a mutant rat in space.
Yeah, I've always been incredibly excited about this movie. But the artwork helped sort of give me some insight into what's going to happen and what I'm ultimately going to see. I read the script, I thought, oh, this is great, and there's not too much action. This is wonderful, yes.
Pretty much anything that's got The Rock in it is you guarantee that it's going to be action-orientated.
Because I thought we were going to have to imagine the building shaking, but oh no, you know, they made it so that bits of the building were falling off, and yes, then I was strung up to the ceiling, flying around in a plane, doing all kinds of stunts, you know. It was, yeah.
It was so great that Brad had it kind of mocked up for me to see, like, the sequence, you know, because there's so much going on in that C-17 thing. And it has, you know, me and Dwayne and Naomi and the gorilla and the soldiers. It's amazing what you can do now with technology.
Outside of the set, we had up to 8 to 10 guys that were on ratchets and hand bombs to try and make all that work. We had a previs for it, but we kind of redesigned it a little bit. I think to make it work better probably for us and what we had to do.
And then cut to me, you know, hanging on a gimbal in a plane upside down, pissed, because Brad wants to do take 8. And I feel he's got it. He's like, one more. I'm like, okay, one more. You're an You get one more.
You're welcome!
What the hell is this?
Mr. Okoye and Dr. Caldwell. I am Agent Harvey Russell. It's the first time that these two characters meet. When we shot it, Dwayne, he's big. And I remember thinking, how do I do this and make it seem like these guys could go toe-to-toe and without, you know, The Rock just pounding my face into the ground, which, you know, he may be able to do.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan killed it. You know, he committed to the role, and you see him and Davis going face to face. It is just, we all kind of like looked at each other and we said, oh yeah, this is what we're talking about.
Okay, here we go for the
Dwayne
top.
immediately gets the giggles. Like, it's a funny little exchange that we have. I thought the best way for my character to get in his face was to do it with a smile.
Jeffrey Dean has that same swag and he has that same kind of machismo, but he does it with a wink, which is ultimately always more dangerous. I want to see George.
Brother, I'm gonna prance myself right out on the limb and guess that no one's ever accused you of being a people person. Again, it's a technique that I've used before, but it's incredibly disarming walking down this massive military jet with his swagger and his cowboy boots and going right up to, you know, 2 inches from The Rock's face and kind of poking him a little bit, you know, poking the bear. And what ends up happening with these characters is I think that rather quickly they end up having a very mutual respect. I'll see you on board. Load him up with the 8.
When you're fleshing out a roster like we have on Rampage, we have to create the baddest asses that are going to go right now and start hunting down monsters.
You know, I'm a big UFC fan, so I had Uriah Faber, who's a Hall of Famer there, I had Joe, who is now a really good friend, and this awesome tactical team, and, you know, they get to take on a giant mutated wolf.
Boss, Bert is the owner, leader, CEO of Black Hill Security. So it's like a Blackwater or mercenary group that was bought or swallowed up by this pharmaceutical company. And when things go wrong with the pharmaceutical company, they send me and my squad of guys in to find out what's going on or clean it up.
They're great cutaways because you go from Dwayne Johnson, the biggest movie star in the world, and then you get to cut to Burke and his team.
I was always a kid that loved monster movies. From the time I was a little kid, I remember watching all those old giant Japanese monster movies, and I always rooted for the monster.
Big action, all of which has kind of become second nature to me. So anytime I could strap on a big gun, fly helicopters, and go to work, I'm there.
Been in the entertainment world, but as a professional fighter for the last 14 years, 44 fights, just inducted into the Hall of Fame 4 months after retirement. So this is a nice, quick transition.
At this point, we're gonna look forward. We're gonna signal them forward.
We're working with my buddy Patrick Brown, who's also a former Army Ranger, and we got some real-life badasses, and I think that's going to translate to the screen.
Most of them would be prior military, Special Forces, Rangers, SEALs. They all come together for private companies. And they'll come together, they'll train as a unit before they go out and any of this type of stuff. Normally, it's capture or kill type missions.
When you're dealing with kind of a combat-related or military-related show like this, you want your stars, of course, to look professional, like they are that character. Open fire! And the cool thing about dealing with actors at a very high level is that actors tend to be good mimics. You can show them what they need to do, and they can copy things exactly.
There's definitely lots of training with the actors, how to move properly, communicate, all the different variations of movements that the military would use in an intense type situation. So doing one-on-one, hands-on training with weapons, making sure they grasp the concepts of how to move as a unit and individuals.
I came in prepared. I started training. I started knocking the rust off a long time before this. In preparation for Rampage, I went out and shot with Navy SEALs, members of the command in the Navy, and then just got here and I learned the choreography.
Joe's definitely easy to train. He's had weapon experience in the past. He's definitely a listener, and he takes everything you say seriously because he's 100% invested into the role, so it went pretty quickly.
Boss.
Are we playing this?
Nice and easy. What was cool with the forest is that that's exactly what we used with the trees and securing like truss and different rigs up into the trees. There wasn't a lot of doubling that went on. It was the actors doing the gags.
They're in a hurry. What do you think, Spook?
Joe was, he was in the rigs. He was on wires, and so was Matt. Brad really wanted to keep the audience fixed to the screen, but trying to keep it all within one shot. So again, that can be challenging, especially when you're dealing with wires and rigs and where we need to be and where we have to be to make it work.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you, everybody.
For me, the emotion and the emotional experience that you get out of watching my movies is the most important thing.
Bo and our producers, what they're always concerned about and thinking about is the audience and what do they want and what do they need at every step of the way.
The intensity is at a 15 the whole time, and then you are on this ride and you do not get off.
And that's what our job is, to try and create an urgency in the theaters, an experience that's brand new, and I really think we delivered.